Hello world, my name is Matt Spa and I'm a photographer and video producer in Atlanta, Georgia. And this video wasn't even really supposed to be a video. I just came in the studio today to shoot some test footage of different ways of lighting a single individual, either for a documentary interview or maybe a two-camera delivery like what I'm doing right now. I'm always looking for ways to simplify that process, and as I started looking at the test footage that I shot, I thought this might be helpful to other people. So I'm going to explain the process of kind of what I have set up here, and then I'm just going to show you all the footage. The setup that you're looking at right now is a 32-inch reflector, and it's on a little boom arm up there. It's angled down. I have a Nanlite Forza 150B that's just pointing straight up into it and then lighting me. The only other light in this room, besides the practical, is a Nanlite Forza 60B that's on that side of the room. It's at 20% and it's bouncing off my 9-foot ceilings in here. So pretty much everything that you're seeing in terms of key light is coming directly from this reflector. In my first test, I used the Nanlite FL11 to reduce spill that was coming off the ceiling. The second test used the standard reflector. And even though that second test results in a slightly brighter shot, the light output is reduced to 60%. Overall though, I feel like these are still very, very similar. My next modifier was a 33-inch umbrella, and I used it with and without diffusion. I like this modifier because it's simple to set up and it's cheap and it's very efficient, requiring only 40% light output with the diffusion in place and 30% without. They're different, but they're not drastically different. I see softer fall off with the diffusion panel, and to my eyes, a little bit more definition without it. The last modifier I'm going to use is the Glow Easy Lock 34-inch beauty dish. This has a silver interior. It comes with 2 layers of diffusion and a grid, and I have all of those in place for this test. This modifier is bigger and it takes more time to set up, but it's what I'm used to seeing, and so this is pleasing to me. I have 3 different sizes of these beauty dish modifiers, and I tend to take the deflector dish out of the inside, particularly if I'm using just a single layer of diffusion. I feel like you get a more even spread of light and it's just a little bit softer. It's also really efficient. Required output from the light to get this exposure is only 14% with that single layer. It's only 32 with the double layer, so still really good. I think this resonates with me because it's what I'm used to seeing all the time. I've removed the interior diffusion, so now it's just the beauty dish that we're looking at. I think this look works better for photography than it does for video. Obviously, I've got the background issue there, but you can also see the shadow from the ribs inside the modifier. That's kind of weird, but for the sake of comparison, here it is. Here's a side-by-side of those shots, and I'm pleasantly surprised at how good the reflector looks. I like that even spread of light. The most pleasing to my eye is the beauty dish, and the diffused umbrella kind of falls somewhere in between. There's something about that look that just doesn't do anything for me. I think the depth of that particular umbrella chokes out the light in some way, if that's a thing, and it definitely has a slight color shift. I did one more slightly, hopefully, more interesting shot while I had everything out. And again, the goal here is to keep all the camera settings exactly the same and only adjust the power of the light output to get the exact same exposure on my forehead. That was my reference point that I chose. And if there's one thing that I've learned, it's that all of these are going to give pretty consistent results. They're roughly the same size, and they are exactly the same distance in all my tests. But what changes is the amount of control that you have. The reflector gives the least amount of control because it's throwing light against the ceiling and the wall, and that's kind of cool. You're getting some fill out of that. But if you want more control over the ratio of light that's hitting your subject to light that's hitting your background, the softbox is going to be the best option, especially if you employ the grid. And then the umbrella just kind of falls somewhere in between there. I think the umbrella is a great option, but you'd have to be really careful with how you angle that, and slight variations in that angle can really affect how much light is hitting your subject and how much light is hitting your background. I do promise that if I decide to do this again, I will get someone who's a little bit more interesting than me to look at for all the tests. At least I didn't go like full Rob Ellis on you, where I just looked all moody and mad the whole time. Rob's awesome. If you really want to learn about lighting, go watch Rob Ellis videos. But he does. He'll scare you with his look. Rob, I love you, man. If you're ever in Atlanta, beers are on me. But cheer up, buddy. Cheer up. That's all I have for this one. I thank you very much for watching.